Imagine that you're walking in the vast wilderness of Yosemite, looking up at the tall sequoias and listening to the waterfalls below. That was my favorite place to be during my adventurous life. Good morning, my name is John Muir, and I'm most famous for exploring Yosemite, supporting the national parks, and founding the Sierra Club. People of the 19th and 20th century know me as America's first environmentalist and father of the national parks. I was born on April 21st, 1838, to Daniel and Anne Muir in Dunbar, Scotland. I was the oldest of 7 children. When we moved to America in 1849, at 11 years of age, there was no more time for me to go to school. Life on the farm in Wisconsin was loaded with work every day of the week, starting at 4 o'clock in the morning. Once when I was digging a well for my father, at 15 or 16 years of age, I started to cough and became wheezy because of the underground gases. My father told me to climb into the bucket that is used to pull up the water, and I did. I was sick in bed for a few days, but when I returned to my full health, my father insisted on me finishing the job anyway. I kept digging until about 10 days later, I had struck water at last. Even in my childhood, I loved to observe nature. Though I had a lot of work to do on the farm, I would take any opportunity I could to finish work early and go fishing or exploring with my brother David. My mother always taught me to appreciate my surroundings. After I turned 18, I took some of my many inventions, including an early rising machine and a clockwork study desk, to the Wisconsin State Fair. There, I sold them, and I made enough money to attend college at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. After college, I left Wisconsin to explore the rest of the United States. I reached Florida in the fall of 1868, and I had walked over 1,000 miles. I then got on a boat to Cuba, but still wasn't happy. I believed the closer I could get to the heart of the earth, the closer I would get to God. The mountains are calling, and I must go. I kept on adventuring until finally I reached Yosemite in California in 1868. This was like no other place I'd ever seen. Here I waded in waterfalls, discovered glaciers, and even saw a bear. I lived alone in a cabin I built myself, where I would make notes on the nature around me. I called it the Scribble Den. I married Louis Strenzel in the spring of 1880 in my early 40s. We had 2 daughters together, Wanda and Helen. Sadly, my wife died in 1905. After her death I was miserable, yet I knew that she would understand that I should stay in Yosemite, where I was happy. After many years of exploring the beauty of Yosemite, I realized not enough people cared about it. There was the occasional trash and litter on the trails, and food left under picnic benches. So on May 28, 1892, I founded the Sierra Club, named after the beautiful Sierra Mountains, to help conserve nature and protect wildlife. After the first 5 months, 182 members had joined. I got to be its first president for 22 years until my death. In 1903, I took President Theodore Roosevelt on a 3-day tour in Yosemite. We camped and explored various landmarks in the park while we talked about conservation. Between 1908 and 1913, Northern California politicians wanted to build a dam in Yosemite to protect Hetch Hetchy Valley from being flooded. I thought that this would ruin the nature in Yosemite and wrote many essays and reports on the matter. Sadly, we conservationists lost the Battle of Hetch Hetchy, and the dam was built in 1913. At the end of my life, at the age of 76, my daughters Wanda and Helen became worried about my health. They took me to the doctor, who told me I had double pneumonia, which means pneumonia in both lungs. The doctor confirmed that I must be driven to the hospital in an ambulance. That night on Christmas Eve, as I lay in bed, I grew weaker and weaker. Around midnight, I died. My funeral took place in my family's home in Martinez, California, with hundreds of people attending. I was buried near my house by my wife Louie. If I was still alive today, I'd be 183 years old. I knew death was the cycle of all living things. I died a happy man with many accomplishments. I was thankful for the time I had to observe God's creation and the beauty of the natural world. In conclusion, I'd most like to be remembered for my love of nature, passion for conservation, and inspiration to explore the outdoors. As I famously said, between every 2 pines is a doorway to a new world. Thank you, John Muir.